Good evening to my many YouTube subscribers, friends, and to my many enemies. Once again, this is another episode of Roosevelt Sounds Off. And this is Roosevelt Sounds Off Part 43. Yes, I'm coming to you again. I mean, this almost makes a record. 3 times in a row and everything today. I came to you this morning, this afternoon, and now I'm coming to you this evening with an update to what I have been going through. As many of you all know, I'm on the free ride program, and they've held up my pass. But I have some good news and I have some bad news. The good news is my new free ride pass has come in the mail. It came this afternoon around like 12:30, 1 o'clock, right after I got through uploading the video to YouTube. But the bad news is I went all the way, I took the metro train from my house all the way downtown Chicago to City Hall to see if I can get this thing activated. And guess what? Even though I have a brand new pass here, I'm going to hold this up to the camera, that shows that this is good until sometime in 2018. Even though they said that they activated it, guess what? It still does not work. It's still coming up as invalid. I even tried to call the 800 number and activate it myself. And the worst part is I tried to call the 800 number 3 times and went through the same steps to activate it. Because whenever you activate a new card, it's a 16-digit number right here on the back. And, the first thing that they ask you when you call in is, do you want English or Spanish? So I selected English, of course. And then they ask you for your 16-digit number. So I put that in. It asks you for your year of birth. I put that in. And then they say now your card is now activated. I have tried this process 3 or 4 times and it has not worked. I even talked to a bus driver because I was downtown getting on and off buses trying to try this thing just to see if it would work on even one bus, and it did not. I even asked one bus driver, like, what is it, and all of this and all of that, and he told me that basically it's a Ventra thing. Even he had to admit, as a CTA bus driver, that Ventra is just crazy. So it looks like tomorrow morning I have to probably call Ventra, who issued out this card, or either go down there to the Ventra headquarters in downtown Chicago again to see if I can get this thing activated, because I got the second pass in my hand. It said this is good until 2018, but because of their stupidity or whatever is going on with Ventra, I cannot use it. And from what I hear, I am not the only one who has this complaint. Ever since CTA and PACE and Metro lined up with Ventra, a whole lot of people have had this problem here in Chicago, to where they go and they put passes on their Ventra cards and put money on their Ventra cards so they can ride the buses and the trains. And whenever they swipe the cards through the machines, the cards come up invalid. A lot of people are having this problem. So I am bringing attention to this problem, and Ventra is the problem. Okay? Moving on from that, as many of you all know, if you saw the video that I posted up this afternoon, after I left City Hall to try to get this pass activated, I took a trip over to McDonald's. This is the McDonald's on Clark and Dearborn, right in the back of the Chase Bank. And there was this man in there just begging people for money and threatening people, cursing at people, all of this and all of that. And then he walked up to a guy and just knocked him down. Just hit him dead in his jaw. And then the guy, he runs out. And I got this guy on tape, asking me for money. But the update to that is, yes, I called the police. And after 45 minutes, the police did show up. And they said that they just have to look for him. I showed him the picture on video that I had of the guy, and they said that they'll be on the lookout for that guy. But then I did have on a sudden special guest who witnessed the whole incident just like I did. And he told me that he would never, ever eat in that McDonald's ever again, because we told the workers behind the counter to call the police, and they wouldn't. And they said that this guy comes in there every single day bothering people, you know, who are trying to eat. And they won't call the police. That's how come he said that you could be in there being murdered or being whatever, and they won't do anything. So he said he'll never eat there again. And plus, before I left, I had another interesting phone call from what is the IRS, or they said that they were the IRS. You know, anybody could sit up and say any kind of thing, don't make it true. I could sit up and say that I'm a white man too, but I'd be lying. And, you know, they called themselves calling up and threatening me. And I noticed it was a woman with a thick, thick accent. And when I challenged her on some things, you know, then she wanted to hang up. And then I called my mother. My mother traced this call, or traced the phone number, and it was a Washington state number. As a matter of fact, I'm going to read it to all of you all out there, because I want you to be aware of these kind of things, because I look more into this thing here. And I found out a whole lot of these kind of things when people call acting like that they're from the IRS or some other kind of government agency and say that you owe money. Some people are so scared and so frightened about possibly owing the IRS money, the first thing that they'll want to do is say, well, I got a credit card, let me whip out my credit card and pay. When my mother told me that if you owe any kind of thing on a tax or something, the IRS will write you, the IRS will not call you. So, this is the information I had. This is the phone number to this supposed IRS people. First of all, the name of the so-called agent who called me was, I don't believe this is her real name, because this woman had a very thick East Indian accent, and I don't believe somebody who has an East Indian accent would be named Mary Wilson. So her name is Mary Wilson, and she told me, let me try to get this all correct, her badge number is IRM 12714. Okay? And the phone number to these so-called IRS people is area code 206-823-3045. And then I know that they were fake because I tried to call them back a couple of more times. And when I was on the train platform trying to wait for the train to get downtown, they called me 2 more times. You know, this phone call is to inform you that the IRS is putting a lawsuit against you. Please call us back at this number. They did it 2 more times. So I called back. And this time it was a guy who picked up the phone who had the same kind of East Indian accent. And he said his name was John Wilson. And so I said, how come you keep on calling me? And then, so he made the comment, you know, excuse me for saying so, this is, I just have to say this just to make my point. You know, this is what he said, well, man, fuck you. Then he hung up the phone. So I called right back. And then he said again, well, this is Officer John Wilson. I'm like, why you keep calling my house? Man, boo on your ass, man. And then he hung up the phone. And then I call again another time. And then he goes to this far now to even insult my mother, telling me it's something, man, fuck you. I fucked your mother when you were still in the womb, and all of this other kind of crazy stuff. And then, you know, along with them playing games with this past, I wanted to go somewhere else tonight, but couldn't, because I can't take the chance on a driver possibly asking me for full fare, because you're going to find some stupid, overzealous driver out there. Maybe I shouldn't say stupid, because in essence, they are just doing their job in requesting a fare if your pass does not work. But hey, I don't have $2.25 to give anybody per ride just to get to where I'm going, and then $2.25 just to get back home. So So this is the kind of stuff that I have been going through, and I just wanted to give you an update to all of that. I'll probably, go down to Ventra headquarters tomorrow, and then I will let everybody know what is going on. So at this point, I am going to wrap up this video and just say good night. And be sure to comment, like, subscribe to the YouTube channel. And I will talk to all of you all on the next video. Peace and blessings to all.